Hello, good evening. How are you?
Good evening,
All
sir.
well, good evening.
How are you?
Good evening.
Good. So, have you got a chance to work on that HLD thing we discussed about last time? Anybody
Good
want to
evening,
present?
sir. Good.
Yeah, good evening. I have Mansa ma'am's, okay, there are two more. I have Mansa ma'am's, this thing. So I'll just start that thing. Just give me a minute. And, there's a desktop, right? Yes. Yes, I believe so. Yeah, let me share that thing. And
Okay.
share.
Sir, I don't know if it is the business problem or not.
Which one, ma'am? Enhance garden center space for seeds and planting plants, right? In storage throughout the year. Okay, okay.
Yes.
So you want to build a storage space for a seeds. Does that, see, this can be a product, this can be a service, and this can also be a solution or a project. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
let's
yeah.
try to understand. Is the vision correct? You're trying to build a storage for plants and
Not
seeds, right?
storage. Storage is the problem. So I
Uh,
am making another solutions.
Okay, could you please tell me about your solution? Tell us about your solution, please. What type of
Yeah.
solution are you trying to make?
Sale on seeds and plants at the end of season. I mean to say, if the plants and seeds that are growing in summer at the end of the summer season, they
Mm-hmm.
can keep a sale on that, so that if anybody is getting in discount, they can buy it, right?
Uh-huh. Okay,
And
great.
another thing is donate for the community gardens.
Right.
Here they will do community gardens, so they will bring from outside. Instead of throwing it, we can donate for them.
Great. So this can be a product. Frankly speaking, the way I look at it, so there could be a problem like wastage of seeds to be stopped.
Yes,
Share the
yes.
details of wastage of such seeds. Um, have the community aware of such wastages so that
Hello. Hello.
I think Ravi sir is on mute or he lost the connection.
Yeah, he lost the connection, I
we are
think.
going from problems to solutions, and this star must be your solution. So sale on seeds, perfect. Donate
Yes.
for community cause, that's also perfect. Contract with local nurses, okay, that's also perfect. Nurses seeds, nurseries, oh sorry, nurseries, okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
necessary.
contract with the nurseries, right? Okay, so that's also great, no problem. And yeah, this can be an online store also, this can be a corner shop also. You
Yes.
can specify those things also. So you're doing great basically as a starter. I think you're presenting for the first time, no problem.
Yeah. Yes, yes.
I think you did excellent. Please don't worry. Let's
Mm,
start to discuss. Only I think we
mm.
need to think about problem more clearly. Solutions, I believe you're right on the nail. So please don't worry. And
Okay,
highlighting
understood.
and images, we don't worry, because in the office they'll train you whatever software they use, even if they use paintbrush, paintbrush, right? In
Yes,
Windows we have
yes,
called paintbrush. Even
yes.
if you use paintbrush, they'll give some add-ons to that, and that's why you can use software whatever. Wherever you join, you can use the software they were normally using. It can be
Yes.
something like Lucid Chart, it can be something like Microsoft Word also. So you can
Okay.
do similar thing in Microsoft Word.
Mm.
We can do similar thing in Microsoft Word, so it looks more organized. I think
Yes.
give me a minute. I think Lina ma'am sent her presentation,
Okay.
and I believe I had it somewhere. Give me a minute, please.
Okay.
Lina ma'am's presentation must be because let's she have presented it really well in terms of she did in couple of hours only. Okay. No. Okay, let me open the WhatsApp thing. Give me a minute, please. So I have to close this. Okay, and to stop share. Mm, oh man, sorry for that. Let me do this thing. Let me bring up this here. Anybody else want to present before that? I might need to search for the file which Lina ma'am have shared, because it was a day before yesterday, I believe. Anybody else want to go ahead? Palli ma'am's phone is giving her problems, I believe. So she might have, these things.
If you give, let me share it, I can share it.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Okay. How can I do that more?
I put it on WhatsApp again?
Yeah. No problem. I made you host, ma'am. Please start again.
Okay, hold on. Can you see?
I think it's still coming up.
Share screen. Okay, no problem. Hold on. Can you see?
No, not yet.
Can you see now?
No, ma'am.
It is there on my screen, but I share it again. Oh, here.
Okay, now, yeah,
You
it's
see
coming.
now?
Yes. See, wow, great.
Okay.
Enhanced food ordering system. We can clearly see, ma'am. Please go ahead. Could you please explain your idea?
Yeah, see, with the increasing demand on online ordering, so this one restaurant, let's say they approach us, and so we have to now actually, they have to switch their ordering system to online. So they approached us to do that, to make a phone app or whatever it is. So our increasing demand on online ordering food made them come to us. And now what we did is we suggested them that what are the benefits on their side. We are not right now showing what is the benefit on the customer side, but on the administration and the restaurant owner, what will they get it? This enhancing system on a phone app will bring them what are their problems. There is patron are calling them, which is time consuming. They have to go over the menu, order the food items and everything. There is a lot of room for human error there. It also requires a lot of internal intervention. They go to the waiter goes to the chef, they come back, pack the food, and then ready for delivery. Then there is difficult and expensive to change the menu because it's printed menu, right? So they can't change it like every time they want to change it. Then maintaining customer database is tedious. It's like manually done, right? These people called and these are our regular clients. Then same thing, accounting is also very time consuming. It will require another set of software to maintain the accounting system and the billing and the banking and all. And there is a lot of human resources, means a lot of expenses, right? They have to hire people to take care of this module of the business. Now, if they go online ordering platform, every tab that you see time consuming, the other tab parallel to it is the solution. So I said it will be quicker and easier to book, and it improves the service experience for the client. Then there is less room for human error because they are ordering, they have a menu right there and they are ordering. Then minimum intervention, internal intervention. So there is less communication within their staff, administration. The digital menu, they can begin real-time changes. They can change it, they can change even the price. So it will be very easy for them. Then get to know the customer better. They can keep off the tab. The database is very important for any businesses, right? By ordering food online, it automatically generates the database. They can keep a regular tab of the clients. So Mr. Ravindra Pandey, he is a vegetarian, so he likes this kind of a food. So he has a profile set up right there. All Ravindra Pandey has to do is go click it on his profile. Like that is what we do when we order Domino's. They know that we order once for jalapeno pepper and onion and one is regular. So that way the profile is there. So it's like a rich database they will have, right? And even customer can read the suggestions and their reviews instantly. They don't have to call and appreciate their service or complain about their service. then
Yes.
accounting interface will be automatically done. So they don't need a separate accounting software or a system. Every day
Hmm.
at the end of the day, they will get how much sale, the credit card generated, how many pickups, how many deliveries, and less human interaction. So they will save on the payroll also. So these are the two differences that with the old system, and when they come to us and we enhance their data, booking system, this will be the result. And then I added two different things later on. Then owner comes up with it. What happens to, there is something I heard Ravindra Pandey mention that there is a proactive billing available with some people. Why can't I have it? So I added that. And then I put the
Okay.
date when we added that proactive billing feature in the booking reservation system. So basically, I just took it on the admin side, their advantage. What will bring, this change will bring in their admin and their plate.
Right. Perfect.
So
So does
solution and
it?
all, I'm not suggesting any solution right now, because this I'm presenting to the stakeholders, not to the technical team. So I know, as a business analyst and with my development team, I know what are the programming we need to do, what are the changes we have to make, what are the new,
Solutions we need to build.
this thing will have to do it, but the
Right.
other end. But at the front end, these are, I'm showing him the advantage of enhancing his system.
Perfect, perfect, ma'am. I think that idea is crisp clear. There are problems on one side, and there are basically solutions you try
Corresponding
to.
solution on the other side.
Right, right, perfect. So this is what the HLD is all about, and this is just a start. Means you can't say this is a final HLD or something, because
Yeah.
then this will go into discussion, because every organization has their processes and policies to present HLD. They might use certain colors, they might not use certain colors, they might use certain specific tools also. So we need to adapt to them. But yes, once you are clear in your thought process, when you start thinking, then you can walk a mile ahead. No problem in that. That's how I believe.
Because
So
then each tab we can enhance more, right? Let
yes,
lots of
that's right.
room for human error. Then we can
Right.
show them, okay, these are the errors, and this we can eliminate by introducing this part of this side of the format.
Right, right. So whenever we work in a team with the team, we'll have their support also as an organization. I'll be there for you, so that we can adopt to their procedures and policies, so that whatever HLD we need to present, we'll present in their format.
Yes,
That does make sense, ma'am?
yes, yes.
Your presentation is excellent, excellent in color, excellent in overall, the to the point of the HLD, and you did it really great job. Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thanks a
Yeah,
lot.
but my question to other my fellow
But
classmates are, as a third party, do you understand what this diagram is? Is it like depicting my thoughts, or I have to like explain more? Because it is more important that the third party understands the diagram.
The same
Uh,
question for me too.
Leena ma'am, I can clearly understand the thought process. It's what I think is, even when you're presenting anything to the client, more than the what is written on the screen, how you explain is more important, and you have explained really, really well.
Okay. I'm still
Uh,
missing some really tech lingos, but I think that comes with the environment. Once you are in
yeah,
that
no,
environment,
not just the tech lingos, but the business lingos, which you are very clear with the thought process, and your language is also very professional. So I think that is all we need.
it's a great start in all. That's what I'll
thank
say,
you.
right?
Is
Yeah.
my diagram is understandable to others or not?
Yes, Mansa ma'am. Yeah, yeah, you did great. Because you're
Uh,
starting to understand the tools, starting to understand the philosophy overall. So I'll say you did really extremely well. Please don't worry. And
Yes, Mansa. Yes, I can clearly understand even your thought process. So you just started 2 days back. So I
yes.
yes,
think, yeah,
Wonderful.
you
Yeah.
did
I mean,
really
it
good
was.
job. Yeah.
That is first
And you know
clarified.
what? This color, of course, I tried and it worked out well. But I think all these cosmic changes are less important as of right now, because right now
Exactly.
we are in an inner circle, right?
Right.
Then, these cosmic things has more values if you present it to the stakeholders. So, Mansa, don't worry, you will be there. This is
Okay,
your
thank
first attempt and it's really good.
Yeah. And Ravi sir, is it the
Uh-huh.
thing that we had when we are presenting the HDLs, we
Mhm.
had to present at that time only, I mean to say, the problem and the solution, or after that also we can adopt those solutions?
Ma'am, you can adapt to a solution. See, as an analyst, what we do, we collect vision, right? So, excuse me. So,
Yes.
an VPHR was from State Farm discussing with the business analyst working in Infosys. He wants to enhance the attendance management system. Now, let's come to try to understand his problem. His problem, there are many guys doing proxies. So, what I do,
Yeah.
when supervisor looking, otherwise I'll send for 3 4 guys also, so they'll get paid. I can have an economical arrangements. This is normally happens in attendance system. We are basically talking about the labor workforce, right? So I
Yes.
need to remove all such proliferations, that's what we call leakages. So what we do, I need to automate the system. So I'll try to remove all the manual efforts. I'll try to make a centralized system. I'll try to attach it to the payroll. And that's all. So it's like one single vision trying to solve all these problems together. So I'll list down the problem, and as an analyst, then I'll start listing down the solution which I can support them. Now, how to club solutions that development team can look out. I'll just put bulleted point. So problem number 1, stop leakages in attendance management system. So what
Okay.
can I suggest them? Use something like biometric, iris scanner, use camera, have some more supervisors, so that there shouldn't be any looking or looking here and there and those kind of scenario. But again, if you include manual efforts, the error might include in multifold. If you have two supervisors, they can talk to each other, and that way also the problem still persists. So what I do, I'll replace the manual efforts with automated efforts, right? And
Yeah,
then take
yeah.
the problem, like he want a centralized system. Okay, I'll develop a web system on the cloud, so that iris scanner or the biometric scanner data can be uploaded to the cloud within millisecond. And that's really what happens actually. So whenever you put your eye against the iris scanner, the physical computer there behind that iris scanner scans for your iris pattern matching in his database, right? So whenever
Yes.
the pattern matches, he reflects on your LCD saying ki Ravindra Pandey entered 7:50 21 January, something like that sort. So the system recognizes me, and these two details goes on the server with all the other data elements required as per the design of the solution. So we are starting to showcase what we understand as a solution against the problem. That's what the all high level diagram, high level design means. Does that answer your question, ma'am?
Yes,
Hello.
sir.
Okay, great.
Yes,
So
sir.
that's what we are trying
Raviji,
to.
I have just one thing. When
Please
I
go
was
ahead.
making this, right, under the, this is the module on the left hand side says patron calling for order the food manually, like call. So should I mention that these are the shortcomings? Like, should I label it somewhere that
No,
these
no,
are
no,
the
no.
shortcomings of
That's a
their
normal
system?
philosophy. We normally
That's a
start with a
philosophy.
problem
Okay.
and give solution, right? So
Okay.
that's a progress overall
Okay.
what we are thinking of. So patrons
Okay.
calling to order food is a problem, and I'm supporting, I'm solving that problem with online order platform. So that's a
Okay.
solution we are
Okay.
talking about, right?
So it is by default, the left hand side is the shortcoming, or that is what their need is,
Yes, yes,
right?
ma'am.
And
And
this
that's what
is
we
our
do normally
vision,
everywhere in the world, except you go to,
and the right hand side is our vision.
that's right. Come again, ma'am?
The right hand side is our vision, or our
That's right.
our
That's
solution,
right,
or our
ma'am.
suggestion, or
Yeah,
our vision.
I think 85% is the percentage where we normally from left to right. And then these
Okay.
Urdu guys,
Okay.
they normally
Right.
walk from, let's not go there. We are working in a
Yeah.
corporate America, so everything goes from right to left.
Right.
Right is
Okay.
always, problem, solution is always on the left. And you can take other examples also, means not just the HLD. That's how overall, the industry works.
Okay.
Okay, sure. Could you please make me host? Anybody else want to share?
Yeah. Okay.
Anybody else want to share? Okay.
Ravindra sir,
Go ahead, ma'am.
I really did not do it because I did not get the concept. I'm going to look for more videos, and then for next class I will try to do it.
No problem, ma'am. But please, giving try is also need, and that's how we normally, learn, right? And even I can guide you more in depth. If you don't try, I couldn't guide you.
Yes.
Look at Mansa, ma'am. Means she did explain her vision, right? Even that's more than enough. That's what I was expecting. A pen and paper, it hardly take 20 minutes, right, ma'am? So you can do something like that. You can click a picture with your mobile, because I believe all the mobiles have camera, right? And then either you can share on WhatsApp with the group so that we can discuss it out. This is basically group learning. So everybody else and their thought process, we are trying to unify. We are trying to walk towards the best practices available in the industry. So unless I hear your idea, unless I know what you're doing, I couldn't guide you for the gap which we need to, cross, right? Does that make sense, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
I know I can understand everybody's having their own chores and day work, but please try to spend 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever you feel is right, and get this diagramming thing done, please. Okay. Otherwise, see, I couldn't really support in terms of where are we lacking, how I can improve, even for that matters, how I can guide you more. Here, these are all professional trainings. So this is not like classroom normal thing. This is, we want to enable you with the tools and the requirements of a business analyst. So your hands-on is more important than my talking. Believe me when I say that. This is really coming from heart, because I kept talking. Unless and until you ask question, unless and until you grasp the knowledge, everything is just waste of time. Believe me. Okay, does that make sense, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So please, everybody else also, means I'm not just talking to Madhuri ma'am. Everybody else, please spend few minutes and try to jot down certain ideas. Try to do these homeworks. These are small homeworks. These are not big homeworks like you need to do it for days and all. But this gives an idea how much I conceived as a knowledge of HLDs or use case diagram and so on and so forth. Okay, let's go ahead. Yes, this is what we call attendance system enhancement. I believe I showed you yesterday, and again, this is wrong. This should be directed to this. Let me try that thing, because I want to add the component in the solution, right? So SAP filter will be here, and this is done in Microsoft Word. So I can copy paste and also edit. Even I can add certain things here. So I'll go to insert, I'll go to shapes, and I'll try to add, let's say, let's try to make this, okay, it's already cloud enabled. Nah? What I should do? I can add a star here with a bright yellow color. Let's see. Where's bright yellow color? Okay, I need to go to fill. Okay, format shape, fill. Let's do a gradient fill. With the yellow nahi hai isme. Let's try this thing. No, that doesn't look good. Okay,
Solid में आएगा.
Come again, ma'am.
Solid में आएगा really.
Yes, solid fill. Yes. Could you see that? I've just added with couple of clicks. That's how we do it. And we need to improvise ourselves. Again, there's no right or wrong. This is our thought process of converting a vision to a paper-based document, to a SRS, to a HLD, right? So my way is that's how I'm going to improve. There are certain best practices normally followed, and that's how we're going to learn. Okay, so diagramming is an art. There's no science attached to it. There's a science applied to it, but the art is normally free fall, right? So artists can really glorify whatever he or she thinks. That's how the art thing works in the general world. So this is a kind of art you're trying to present it to a development team, so that they can start building on solution, they can start designing these, they can start architecting these. So they know, so there'll be development team who are closely working with you, they can guide you basically. So rather than this thing, they might use Excel sheet also, or they might ask you to support these things to Excel sheet, so you can just copy this thing and paste it in Excel sheet. It's as simple as that. So if you're using Word, it basically helps you out so that you can transition these states without retyping and all those things. So that's how I normally work. But yes, it's depend on the situation, and we'll get adapt to it. So please don't worry. Okay,
Okay.
let's go ahead. Then this can be another HLD, same thing, only I've tried to put it in a more lenient fashion rather than fixed boxes, because sometimes the guys don't like corner box and all those things. So we can have something like this also, right? So it's a similar thing which we want to improve. And I believe somebody else have presented this, right? Pardon me for that. But yes, this is the best thing. We can dip it in terms of HLD, right? Anybody have any questions on HLD?
Yeah. On the first one and this one, the arrows are different. This one is showing arrow to this one is
this
showing
is a wrong
arrow.
arrow. Yeah, this is a wrong arrow. Pardon me for that. So this should be, can I change the shape? Let me, can I change the shape? No, I believe I can't change the shape. So what I need to do, I need to copy these things to the text. No. Or can I shift this thing? Wait a minute. Oh yeah, I can do this way.
But then arrow
But
still
arrow
remains.
इसको चाहिए, इसको arrow नहीं चाहिए ना?
Yeah, the arrow नहीं चाहिए.
Oh man.
No, but we got it, so don't worry.
Yeah. So this is wrong basically. So what I'll do, I'll just zero this thing down. Means I'll almost.
सर ब्लू बॉक्स को इस साइड कर दीजिए.
हाँ वही. इसको मैं छोटा कर देता हूँ तो एरो नहीं दिखेगा. ओके ग्रेट. नो लाइन जान दो उसको. अभी यहाँ पे मैं एक एरो ऐड कर दूंगा. किधर गया. And I'll give it a good color. Let's say solid.
No, you have to move the arrow the other side, clockwise.
No, this is what.
Now it's perfect. Yeah.
Yes. This line will, as we all know, this is the arrow actually.
That's okay.
But yeah, so I've just tried kind of modified it. Otherwise I could have deleted this and put another box.
Don't worry, we understood.
So you got the idea, right?
Yes.
Because the problems have to be progressed to a solution. That's a simple thing we are trying here. Similar here, it clearly depicts the arrow towards the solution. Okay. Anybody else have any question?
No.
Okay, great. Then we talked about this layer. Again, depicting a layer can be a best practices in some certain organizations. So we will learn on job. Please don't worry on this thing. I'm just sharing with you. So if anybody in the interview can ask you what you mean by layers or tiers, this is how they pronounce it, tiers. These are the separate logical part of the application which are depicted to make development easy. That's all you need to say. We are creating these layers and tiers. These are the logical separated design in the application to help development teams. As simple as that. So there could be a UI layer, there could be a business layer, there could be a data access layer, there could be a data storage layers. Then we go on vertical layering also. So user access, UI component layers, service layers, data source, services. Then we have vertical layers as a security, which is you need to basically maintain from users to the database. There are operation management. So how are we going to manage operations if there is a requirement of a health support desk or something like that sort. Then there's a communication. Communication is normal every vertical everywhere. But still, if you want to emphasize it, if you want to present it, you can present it that way. Okay, this is how we do a n-tier application. That's what they call it. Anything above 2 is n. Normally we don't say 3 tier or 3 layer. We call it n-tier or n-layer application. Okay. Then we thought about the Amazon app, how the Amazon works in a microservices fashion. Then this is also one of the most complicated, which I would like to share just to understand. We can complicate the things as per the need also. So there are many ways to disturb the art with too much scientific information, and this is how you can do it, which is not at all a need. Basically, what business analyst does is just convert the vision to a requirement to a functionality. Even conversion to the functionality is not done by business analysts completely, because implementing or designing functionality is a designer or architect job. So whenever I try to create requirement, I can stop then and there. But in some organizations, due to the way they are working in years altogether, they might have a functionality listing also included in SRS. So it's optional most of the time. But let's see, if you're a domain expert, you might go to functionality very easily. If you're not a domain expert, you might need help from SMEs or COEs, subject matter expert or center of excellence, so that you can build the you can convert the correct requirement to correct functionality. Because when you try to convert requirement into functionality, the normal technological implementation does play an important part. Okay, and as a business analyst, what we perceive, he is independent of such technology implementation normally, because whenever we have this first meeting on solution approval, there we normally discuss about the technology implementation. So should we use MS SQL, should we use MySQL, your SQL, Oracle, whatever it may be. So these discussions start after you present this thing to the dignitaries, and that's how the normal process is. Anybody have any question for me on this?
No, we need to see more videos and read
Sure,
about
definitely,
this later,
definitely.
because it is
Oh.
very confusing.
Yes, yes.
Raviji, Dipti is trying to enter the room.
Okay.
Sir, I'm trying to log in from my computer. Can you please let me in?
Oh, okay, okay. But I couldn't get any. Give me a minute, please. No, I couldn't, get waiting area. No, I'm okay. Lina ma'am, could you make
I
me
did.
host? Yeah.
You were a host. I am out, but I just let her.
No, you are the host, ma'am. If you can see in attendance list.
Attendance.
I got it. I'm in now.
Okay,
Thank you.
host. So I'll make you host. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, that will be really great. Just right click on my name.
I did,
and
yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Now, as we discussed about something like microservices, let's try to spend a minute or two on this. Microservices, or there are a couple of other way of what you can say, categorizing the architectures. Architectures is basically a very scientific term for for designing of a software solution, right? So it's predominantly used in software world. Do you think this is a SOA based architecture, service oriented architecture, or microservices based architecture? Now, what is a service? Bringing a tea is a service, right? Supporting anybody to drive a car is a service, right? Going to a temple and do a worship is a service. Why we call it service? Because you do certain steps manually and try to help other, try to acquire satisfaction most of the time, rather than revenues or those way. So services have a separate category within architecture also. So in some scenario, some of the scientists have developed a way of building something called microservices architecture or service oriented architecture. Why is this? Because there are quite a few repeating services needs to be done at certain places. Let's take a voice call support. We all call credit card companies, or credit card company keeps calling us even if we say do not disturb and all those things. So how they do it? They have something called services bench, support bench, right? So these are the solution devised based on certain services, and they have certain service level agreements with operators, executives, callers, and everything. So what they do, they try to support the user in a best possible way by calling them or by performing certain services, performing certain activities in a sequence. Even in a software, similar fashion of happens, right? We've seen these things. These are the services we are talking about. So account service, inventory service, shipping service. So whenever you order from a mobile app or a browser, means a computer or a desktop, you normally hit the account service, you normally hit the inventory service, you normally put a request to a shipping service. You normally hit means you normally request certain thing to them and they'll support you. This is how the services thing works, right? So let's try to understand from a simpler perspective. Whenever you go to hotel, you normally ask for the waiter, right? So waitering is what we call service in a broader sense, but we normally try to convert in a componentized fashion in software, but it can be done in a microservice way also. Only certain, this is like, certain people like red color, certain people like blue color. There's no wrong in that. It's like my choice of getting it done. If I feel the microservices are much easier architecture to adopt, I'll adopt microservices architecture. So it's a type of architecture. There are a couple of type of architecture we learn throughout the training. Just to understand here, the services and microservices. There are a bigger services. Now we have something called microservices. So why microservices? Because we work in a cloud way, right? We have every application on a cloud. So I can have a server serving me certain things. So when I ask a server, could you please tell me how much I have in my bank account, how much I can withdraw today? Is there a cap on, limit on withdrawal? Okay, so I need to do twice, I need to do thrice, or something like that sort. So these type of things, which are the data is served by the server to us as an user. So it's called service oriented architecture, right? We as an analyst, we don't design this architecture only if somebody asks a question, something like, do you think this is services heavy architecture? Because we are building this solution, we can clearly think, is it a service oriented architecture, or is just REST API, means you send the request and the server will come back to you with another data or another structure or another database table, so that you can get data whatever you need, so on and so forth. So this is how it works normally. So in good old days, we used to send a request, and the system used to return a table of elements to us. Let me try to explain this thing. When I go on Amazon, right? I'm on Amazon and I check for, let's say, LED bulb. So when I say LED bulb in the search box, I get n number of listing of various LED bulbs offered, right? So how do I get it? I just typed one, phrase or two or three words and hit an enter. The search service goes to a server and bring down a big table with images to me on my computer. Is this helping you? Could you understand what I'm trying to say here?
Oh, I'm confused.
Yes. Could you please guide me where you started getting confused?
The whole thing, I know what's what contest we are talking about microservice.
Okay. Have you understood service?
Yeah.
We know services, right? Okay, great. Now in a computer way, in a computer architecture, we are trying to differentiate between couple of architecture way of architecting things. So when I say I need a service in a generic sense, what I really want is basically to get something, to provide something, or to help somebody, right? That's a normally way of service works. Now, when in an architecture way, when I try to design the architecture in a microservices or a service-oriented architecture fashion, I try to depict, or I try to create these logical services first in my architecture, and then I program it accordingly whenever I develop this solution. Does that make sense, ma'am?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yes, I can understand. This is a bit complicated, but I just want to enable you to, basically getting ready for the interview also, because sometimes they might ask, so what are the different type of architecture do you know? So you can tell them about microservices, service oriented, or you can tell them, yes, I have heard of these things. I might not have worked on that, but yes, microservices. So it's a service oriented architecture. And then there are execution oriented architectures, right? So these are the different type of software architectures available. You are not an architect, you are not a designer, we are analysts. We need to understand in terms of whatever I did in HLD can be coupled in microservices, or normally it's better to leave it at a component based design software. That's a normal way. These are enhanced or advanced way. These are starting basically, started getting adopted after 2010 afterwards. So this is a pretty new this thing. These are predominantly for cloud-based solutions, and now everything is cloud-based, right? Everything is remote. So that's why microservices architecture are more famous nowadays. That's why I'm sharing these details with you, because yeah, go ahead please.
So can you please repeat what are microservices? I'm just a little bit confused between the services and microservices.
No, microservice is a type of services. Microservice अपन छोटा छोटा ज्यादा बनाते हैं. Services में, like I told you, right? If I go to ATM and if I want to withdraw, let's say $1,000, is it allowed by the bank? Is it a cap limit, or do I need to withdraw 500 2-3 times? This also happens, right? Now these are the microservices. So they come back to you with a singular data elements. Normal service oriented architecture, they normally come with you a table, right? Amazon services, when you search for LED bulb, you get a complete list of table on your web page. Have you searched for any product on Amazon? Amazon or any other shopping site?
Yes, sir. So these are microservices. I mean, like whenever I type any keyword and Amazon brings me the list of those things. These are the microservices being offered.
Yes, ma'am. Microservices or broader services. Microservices normally tend to supply with singular items. The broader services, they normally bring a complete table to you. So those are heavy services. Micro is small, right? So whenever you normally try to ship the data from here to there in elements, in singular or multiple data elements, that's a microservices. But in normal service-oriented architecture, I build all these microservices together. So yes, if that architecture brings me efficiency and reduce my infrastructure costs, I'll build a microservices, and that's what the trend right now. Microservices architecture is a type of service-oriented architecture. So it's a subset. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have any question?
No, I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. I'll not go into
what
details.
I fail to understand is why do we, I mean, this is like
No,
technical for
yes,
BA,
in an interview, because see, interviews thought process is much wider. The guy who normally interviews interviewees is a designer, architects, or the managers of the world, because analysts hand over your knowledge to these guys, right? The designers and the architects of the world. So normally the interview is conducted by project manager or architects or designer, and they have a way of asking. So what do you know what are the different architecture patterns available in software designs? So you can just tell them microservices, service-oriented architecture, component architecture, and all those things. Otherwise, we might not need to learn these things. But see, normally we are going to work with a software company, right? Infosys, Wipro, TCS of the world. And so that we have to understand these lingos. This is again trying to understand the linguistic. That's all, nothing else. Okay, please don't worry if you don't understand in depth. Just try to understand what do you mean by services. And if anybody asks, just remember the word called microservices or service-oriented architecture. That'll be the most of it. Nothing else.
But sir, most of the things are service oriented only, right? We are asking for something, and database is providing us the service, right? So what are the different types of architecture? Like you said,
component-based architecture. Yeah, that's what I'm.
Component.
What is a component? Let's say, let's go to this one. Okay. Now here, these are UI components. So what I call a page, web page, right? It's a UI component. What I call a business workflow, like a web page, ask somebody to give me the list of LED bulb available. Now the requests are going in between, but the requests are getting validated, requests are getting authorized, authenticated, and then channeled to a specific database. Now this channeling is basically a component type of architecture. When I just bring a service, a user fires a service, after the security approves it, it hits the database, something like that. So those are more pipes than blocks, if I want to explain it in that way. That's not but it's a layman's terminology. Could you understand what I'm trying to say here?
But sir, and at the end, this is also a service, right?
No. Okay. Uh, how should I put it? No, service is different from a component. How do I put it? Let me tell you. Okay, self-service hotels are service-oriented architecture. A normal waiter or table-based hotels are normally componentized architectures. Does that make sense?
That
See,
is, I mean,
the way of serving is different. You eat, and you basically try to calm your hunger. That's the aim, basically what we're talking about. But whenever you go to a hotel, let's say 3-star, 5-star, you normally welcome by the host. You normally welcome to your table. You normally get a menu, and then you normally order. But otherwise, if I go to MacD, carry in windows, I'll just shout, give me a couple of burgers, give me fries, give me Coke. Simple. And that's kind of service oriented architecture. So I'm directly interacting with the person who's going to serve me. In normal 3-star or 4-star or 5-star or 7-star, whatever it may be, I normally just can't shout from the door, even if it's a hotel and they know I'm there to eat only. So I can't shout on the door, saying, boss, give me a burger, give me Coke. थोड़ा फर्क समझ में आ रहा है आपको?
Yeah.
yes, sir. So if we are going through a channel, then it is a component-based architecture, and if we
Exactly.
are directly taking the service, it's a
Right.
service.
There are more flora and fauna when you use component-based architecture. There are layers of interaction involved. In service-oriented architecture, you normally directly hit a service and service will get whatever you want. You are not bothered कि अंदर क्या बन रहा है. See, even in MacD, Karine, there is a guy, there is a cook who's cooking, right? It's not like that, कि वो waiter आपके लिए बना रहा है. He or she is just wrapping it for you whenever your order is ready, right? And you take that order away.
It is more
So
to
in service, you normally
interface.
worried about how service is getting affected and how service is getting addressed quickly, efficiently. So this is like priority change rather than thinking about what goes inside. I don't worry. I'm not worried. But in component based architecture, I already worry because see, there could be databases, there could be other services from which I need to pull data. Like in a payment card, right? You need to hit your bank account. You need to hit our your ATM carry bag also. कि ATM में है कितना? मैं 1000 मांगू लेकिन ATM में $1000 नहीं है तो मेरे को क्या मिलेगा? So there are certain limitations within the application which we need to check. So this is normally a component-based architecture because you are hitting too many things, right? And if the microservices keep hitting too many things, then it will be lengthy. It will slow down the whole thing. So there's a bit of difference in whenever you design or architect such thing. Does that make sense, or I'm I'm confusing you?
No, sir. You have actually made it very, very in a very good way. I actually understood the bit difference between service
Thank you.
oriented and component based.
So component architect would have more layers on the service interface part.
Exactly. And these are basically component heavy architecture. That's what they say. So you have all those bars and boxes and less arrow. In microservices, you have more arrow. Look at these things. Could you see these? This is actual Amazon Web Services architecture. The Amazon.com uses this architecture. So there's a content delivery on a cloud front. So whenever Ravindra Pandey logs in, Ravindra Pandey keys in mobile number or a username, password, hit enter. That API gateway, this is a security guy who normally checks. Is the Ravindra Pandey registered with us? Okay. Oh, yes, he purchased so many things earlier. Okay. Now what he'll do, he'll basically load the application. So it's a kind of balancing and all those things. Let me, balancing is basically if he's working from US, if he's working for India, and then how to, who is the actual server channel who will, support my data. That's what the balancing is all about. Or if there are too many Ravindra Pandays logging in, then how to supply their data. That's what the balancing is about. The container is basically the overall which holds the data. So whenever I'm searching for LED bulbs, that complete table which comes on my mobile or desktop is held by a container for certain period of time. Till my session, means I log in, log out is my one session, right? Till my session continues, this container holds my data. Right? And then there's a DB. We call it DynamoDB. Amazon use something called DynamoDB for serving its customer. Please don't go into technicality. These are the server, and this is how the services progress. And then the same way it comes back to me saying, okay, this is a list of LED bulbs available currently. Philips LED bulb, $6. This LED bulb, $8 or whatever it may be. And depending on my choice, I can click, I want to buy one, I want to buy three, and I'll just, pay, or I'll basically ship out, shade my dollars from my Amazon Pay and get the bulb as early as possible to my delivered to my house. Does that make sense? Could you understand how the service worked?
Yes.
So sir, here DB layer is called as persistency layer, is it?
Okay. No. You can label it that way, but persistency layer have a specific meaning here. Let's not go there, because when you talk about container, when you talk about sessions, are you from IT background?
Yes, sir. Me. Yeah.
Okay, then you can understand persistency. Okay, who can explain me what do you mean by persistency? Theoretically, not IT way. What is persistency?
If, I would say
Please.
persistency means like, till you get the right result. Then you persistence, you
Perfect.
keep on doing it.
Perfect. So why we should call DB layer as a persistent layer? Ma'am, could you please throw some light?
So let's say you order let's say you ask for LED bulb. Till you get the right bulb of the right company, right price,
Perfect.
it will not put it on your screen. Yeah, you can't put it on your cart.
Right. So where the selection criteria is the most
Not
critical
met,
thing
yeah.
in the application, yes, you need to have a persistency layer at DB. Because if Ravindra Pandey asks for Philips bulb, LED bulb, warm light, cold light, I don't know, there are, if you search, there are n number of options available.
Yeah.
Surface LEDs, round LED, LED with screwing type of holders. So within that, if Ravindra Pandey wants a surface LED, and if you ship him a normal LED, like that bulb going to the holder, I am at loss, right? Means I have unnecessarily wasted my time, and you have wasted my time as a shopper. So what I do, I'll build this persistency layer. Does that answer your question, ma'am?
Yes, sir. So persistency.
And Lina ma'am answered
Yes.
it for you, not me.
Yeah. So persistency layer is basically we are putting it on top of DB layer to get the desired.
No, ma'am. We have designed the DB the way it should work more pro-persistent. That's how I'll put it. The DB design normally works in that way. See, DB हम लोग create करते हैं. We design DB. Right?
मतलब if I tell you database में whatever I want, I can put the conditions like select start from
Exactly.
this where the column name should be like this and
Right.
this column name should be like that. So
Okay, there's something called database schema. That's what you're talking about. And there's something called database architecture, where you normally tend to build these stored procedures, tend to build these triggers. Stored procedure is a procedural program within database to pull out such persisted data, so that the logical layer don't have to do too much work in persistency. So what we do, we share the load across the application. I think we are making other participants uncomfortable. This is what happens when IT guys start speaking. Please pardon me for that. No problem. If you have any question as far as typical on a particular point, I can go on, no problem. But the thing is that other participant might not feel it right, because it's really complicated to go to the component level or even go to the element level in service architecture. So please pardon me here. Okay.
yes, sir. And
Are you still confused? Are you okay with overall? This is just, I'm trying to share you the application diagram or the HLD diagram, how is different from this one. Here we are just have few arrows. Here everything is basically executed with the arrows, right? And we have layers penetrating by arrows rather than what you can say. How do I say? Could you see the difference in the image? Philosophically, let's not go to the nth level. Let's try to understand how the HLDs are different, how these HLD are basically get it working or normally explained. We might, have a HLD explaining video so that you can understand in depth. But right now, just try to understand component-based architecture and services-based architecture. That's more than enough for us as an BA. Does that make sense?
Yes.
sir. Yeah.
Okay, great, no
Sir,
problem.
API is application program interface, right?
Come again, please, ma'am.
API is application program
Yes.
interface. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so okay, yes, that's right.
Okay.
API is application programming interface. Normally, whenever you say application programming, these are the plugins created by the software vendors, right? We normally work with at least 3 or 4 different softwares within our architecture. So every major software vendor, like be it SAP, be it something like Microsoft Windows, they have their way of interacting with applications, other applications. So what we do, we have these APIs, set of APIs, where the applications normally tells you how to use these APIs or the gate for getting serviced. Let's say when you work with Android has this API. So we normally program these API so that we'll get the required data from the Android platform, because whenever you build an application on Android, we need to get certain thing from Android as an operating system. So get me the number of Ravindra Pandey. So I'll put an API request to Android as an OS from my application, right? So this is an API request. So API gateway is a service where I post this request, and then API gateway gives me the response. So that's how this service-oriented architecture are normally predominantly based on such APIs, different APIs. Does that answer your question, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. And
Thank you.
yes, application programming interface, that's what the API is all about, right? We'll have user story later on. Now let's try to use some different tools which we use. We had a look at use case diagram. We had a look at HLDs of the world, right? We had a look at SRS also. Let's try to understand what are the other tools normally used by these various analysts around the world. Now these tools are not fixed or the best practices, but they are chosen by the very seniors earlier days, or they are still using it because they have a practice of using it. So there are something called mind maps. Anybody from us used mind map before, or had an understanding of mind map?
I used to do it in college for
Wow, great.
myself. Yeah.
Array,
All
that's great.
those cartoons, small cartoons, and put it on a paper.
Wow,
Yeah,
wow,
I
wow.
used to do that while in
Right, right.
college.
So see, here we have a major element. It's called Project X, and we are trying to build some branches out of it. So this project is basically my main problem, main issue, and then I'm trying to provide this solution around it. What, where, when, how, why, who, right? So these are the normally extension of requirement. That's how they call it. It's a flora of requirement what we're trying to do. So main requirement, I'll try to put it in a different scenario, put it in a different aspect, so that I'll get to the bottom of it, and I'll try to basically describe each and every such requirement in depth so that its completeness come out. So these mind maps are normally used to have all the requirement discussed in depth, or to the nth level. Could you understand that? Any confusion here?
Think I'm good.
Okay, don't look at the diagram, it's complicated, I can understand, but think it through whenever a requirement. Let's think about something like in Project X, I'll put enhancement, attendance management system enhancement. So, okay, what is attendance management system enhancement? I'll try to, down. So there'll be a requirement. Requirement is like, okay, they want to eliminate all the pitfalls within the attendance management system. What are the business rule? Yes, we might use something ID scanner, biometric scanner, whatnot, where there are 60 different offices around the globe. Okay, so it needs to be centralized. When okay, they say it must be get ready by June first week. Okay, great. And how we're going to do it? So we have something called biometric scanner. We have something called iris scanners. There are certain way of them interacting with our local server, and local server will push the data to the cloud, and then the integrated system will solve the attendance leakage problem. Okay, then why we are doing this? Because, well, State Farm is paying for it, of course, but they have their major problem, and there were various proxy in terms of attendance, and they had certain revenue leakages due to that. So they want to have a foolproof solution for attendance management system, right? So why of the world, then who's going to do it, who is going to have these things? Okay, so there'll be an IT expert who will manage this iris scanner as well as that server located in each and every offices, and will make sure whenever the attendance is marked will be shipped to the cloud centralized database server, and then we can have that leave management, payroll attached to them. Okay, and what are the project partners? Yes, Infosys and State Farm are the project partners. Could we sell this product to another insurance service providers? Yes, definitely, and make some more money, something like that sort. So see how one single requirement can basically give you different aspect of what, where, when, how, why. Could you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is
Yes.
what the mind map is all about. Okay, now hardly there are very few companies who use mind maps, but if your company is using mind map, we will go in depth whenever you join such company, and that's why I am there. So please don't worry. If you want, I can share some videos with you also on mind maps. You can look into that. Plus please don't go in depth of such things, because every of these tool sets, these tools are evolved over time, so they have really good complicated things can be done with them. Right now what we are trying to do, we are trying to solve a problem of requirement gathering, requirement leakages, requirement creep, so that we gather the requirement in completeness with the relevant background, with the relevant wish list of the stakeholders as well, wish list of the client as well, right? So let's try to understand what we are doing, and how we do it is just a matter of implementation. So if you join certain company, then if they are using mind maps, we'll have a separate hands-on sessions, one-on-one. Now just remember, mind map as a tools कैसा दिखता है या ऐसा कुछ कुछ दिखता है, हम क्या करते हैं इसमें, व्हाट, वेयर, व्हेन, हाउ, व्हाई, इससे हम लोग explain करते each and every requirement, right? And then these are basically good way to keep track of what needs to be done. Yes, there are certain scenarios and priority attached to these branches. These are basically a problem solving technique. So the way Lina ma'am explained, the normally various institution, they follow mind maps to solve problem or to go to the root of problem. That's how they say it. So finding a root cause is the main what you can say intention of creating a mind map, right? Let's have a look at this video. This is really good video, because everything have certain plus and minuses. As an artist, I can't share everything with you, right? Because I have my own what you can say preconception or preconceived idea, right? I'm as a person. So to come up or to go, what I can say, to try to reduce my personal prejudice, let's have a look at such video, because these are really help you out to understand how the mind map works in a generic way. Let me find that pie chart, business. Where's the mind map? Oh man, is it an AM? एक मिनट ये किधर गया ये? Okay, okay. Yes, give me a minute, please.
How to mind map effectively. How to mind map.
Yeah, I know you can't
shopping
hear.
list,
Just give me a
and
minute.
anything else. Let's do this.
Share. Come on. Okay.
Hey, it's Ozzy here talking about how to create a mind map. A lot of people are asking, how do you make a mind map? So let's dive in.
Could you see this? Could you hear him?
No, we can't hear.
You can't hear. Okay.
The first question.
Could you hear?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, sure. I'll start from.
Hey, it's Ozzy here talking about how to create a mind map. A lot of people are asking, how do you make a mind map? So let's dive in. The first question really is, what is a mind map? A mind map is a collection of thoughts. Now at this point, you could say, well, that's the same as a to-do list. And in a way, it is. But here's the difference. A to-do list or any type of list is a linear thought process. Every item comes after another item. And here's the thing, We don't think in a linear fashion. Our thoughts are more like explosions of thoughts branching out in every way. And that's where mind mapping comes in. Mind maps are usually a better way to capture thoughts, and the term mind mapping itself means to map your mind, to map your thoughts. So that's the theory over with. Now let's get on with the action. Okay, so here I have a blank screen. This represents a blank piece of paper. By the way, you can mind map on paper or you can mind map using a tool, and I'll talk about that later in this video. I use both methods, by the way. If I want to capture some thoughts, I'll start mind mapping on paper, but the only drawback is that I change my mind very often, and I end up crossing out a lot of things on the piece of paper, and that's where software makes this process a lot easier. But I'm getting ahead of myself, so let's step back and look at the action. We start by drawing a shape in the middle of the paper. Now you could draw a circle, but keep in mind that we have to write inside these shapes, so a circle is not really the best shape. I stick to this shape. Now this is going to be our central topic, so let's call it the thing. This is the thing that we want to mind map about. Okay, so now that you have your central topic down, you just let your mind do its thing. Let the thoughts come and write down all the thoughts that are related to the thing. So let's say, for example, you needed to go and buy some clothes. Clothes shopping would be the thing. That would be the central topic. Your mind would then fill up with thoughts about all the things you need to buy. For example, you might think jeans, a t-shirt, shoes, a jacket, and so on. Those are the thoughts that we want to capture at this stage. So in our example, I have the thing, which is what we're mind mapping about. So I'm going to draw another shape. I'm going to call that area 1. Area meaning area or aspect of the thing. So if this was about clothes shopping, this first shape could be jeans. Then I'm going to draw another shape to capture my next thought. This one, for example, could be t-shirt. Then I'm going to capture the next thought.
Can't see anything.
Say this one is shoes. And I'm going to repeat the process as many times as I need to. Every time a thought pops into my head about
there was
the
a
thing
pop-in in
that
my
I'm trying to achieve, I'm going to record
I'll
it on
repeat
my
this thing,
jacket
please.
and so on.
That's okay,
Those
don't
are the
worry.
thoughts that we want to capture at this stage. So in our example, I have the thing, which is what we're mind mapping about. So I'm going to draw another shape. I'm going to call that area 1. Area meaning area or aspect of the thing. So if this was about clothes shopping, this first shape could be jeans. Then I'm going to draw another shape to capture my next thought. This one, for example, could be t-shirt. Then I'm going to capture the next thought. Let's say this one is shoes. And I'm going to repeat the process as many times as I need to. Every time a thought pops into my head about the thing that I'm trying to achieve, I'm going to record it on my piece of paper. When you have all your thoughts in front of you, just link them. Everything is linked or branching out from the thing. Next, we're going to think about each area and see what thoughts come up. So for example, if area 1 was jeans, then maybe we want to buy a pair of black jeans and a pair of blue jeans. So I would draw 2 shapes and I would write in there blue jeans, black jeans. I'm writing item and area here just to build a template to demonstrate that this can be used for anything. Then you just repeat the process for every thought. And what you're doing here is you are creating sub-thoughts or sub-areas of those main areas. And of course, you link them all together because all those thoughts are linked. And when you run out of thoughts, then you have your mind map completed. And you can see the difference between a mind map and a to-do list. When you create a to-do list or a list of any sort, you are writing in a linear process, but your thoughts are not linear. The whole point of mind mapping is that you don't lose any of those thoughts. You can capture them quickly by simply adding that thought to the corresponding area or category. And this is why mind mapping is very effective. So let's look at a practical example now. Let's see how to mind map your life. So once again, we're going to start with a central topic. And since you're going to map out your life, then my life would be a good name for the central topic. Now, to walk you through the thought process, imagine that you want to map out the rest of your life, or you want to at least create a mind map that encapsulates where you want to go with your life in the next few years. Remember, it's all about capturing those thoughts. So to start with, we'll create a bubble called career. So let's use the term career loosely here. This is either you working for somebody else or you working for yourself. Next, we'll draw a bubble for relationships. And next, we'll draw a bubble for money. Now note that these are not in any particular order. With a mind map, there is no up or down and there is no left or right. Just like the thoughts in your head, they don't usually have a beginning and an end. So let's go ahead and draw another shape for goals, and another one for travel, and another one for health. So all these bubbles represent different aspects of your life that you want to map out. Each one is as important as the next. Okay, so next we're going to link all those thoughts. And next we're going to focus on one of the bubbles, let's say for example career, and we're going to let the mind do its thing, and your job is simply to sit still, listen, and capture those thoughts as they come out. And you do that for each one of these bubbles. And by the way, these bubbles in mind mapping terms are usually called nodes. Okay, so let's go ahead and capture some thoughts. You can see that under career, I have come up with training and jobs. This is an example, of course, but let's say somebody wanted to have a career, and the thought process could have been, I need to get some training first, and then I need to start applying for jobs. And that's what that represents. Then for relationships, we can have love and friends. Then for money, we can have debt and savings. And of course, you can add as many nodes or sub-nodes as you want. For example, under money, you could have investments, and under debt, you could list all the types of debt that you have. And if you choose to work with your mind map on an ongoing basis, you can actually cross out those bubbles as and when you accomplish them. For goals, I added 2 goals. You can add as many as you want, and you can break down those goals into as many nodes or sub-nodes as you want. For travel, I added 2 nodes, this year and next year. You may be more focused on travel, so this may be a bigger node for you. Then for health, I added 2 things, diet and exercise. You'll note that I've added 2 examples for each main node, and that is just to show you how to create a mind map, an effective mind map.
Any questions at this moment? Do you like this way of doing things?
Yes. Perfect.
Ismail, one of the old boss favorites. So even if you call him on weekend and he used to, ask, okay, get a mind map. So yeah, literally, if you go to his car, you can find at least 60, 70 mind maps flying on the, back seat or something like that. This was in US. This was during, 1999 to 2001. So, there are certain very, philosophical type of managers who use mind map techniques still today. So if you basically, go to such or get attached to such personality while work, it's really great tool, nothing wrong in that. But yes, don't let's get what you can say too much involved in some tool, like they say, right? Don't love the tool, you are going to use the tool for getting things done, right? So that way. But yes, there are certain personality who get can do wonders with one tool as well. So there's no right or wrong in all these tools. Just try to think it from a philosophical perspective. What we are trying to do, we are trying to collect the requirement, collect the vision, and try to get it clarified to the nth level. Okay, there could be some organizations where you might need to present your requirements in a mind map fashion. Okay, so we'll have a hands-on workshop that time. But right now, let's try to get a general idea what mind map does and does for us. So there's a central node, sub node, another layer of sub nodes, and that's so on and so forth. That's how we normally create a mind map, right? Now let's have a look at the software which he is trying to use and which software we can use. Okay.
And keep it simple at the same time. But of course, you can focus on any of those areas or those nodes, like training, for example, and ask yourself, what types of training do I want or do I need? And you can expand that node into a lot more nodes. Your mind map really is infinite. You can keep going, mapping out your thoughts for as long as you want. Now let's look at one final practical example. Let's wipe this out and start with our shape and call this one shop. I wanted to do this example to really show the difference between a mind map versus a to-do list. So let's use an example shopping list to create our mind map. Here you'll see fruit, veg, dairy, frozen, meat and bakery. Now what we're doing here is we are separating the categories of food that we want to buy. It's very annoying to find items on your shopping list that are at the other end of the supermarket where you were 2 minutes ago. So creating a mind map instead of a to-do list will help you deal with that. So following the process we looked at before, you would think about what kinds of fruit you want to buy, what kinds of veg, what kinds of dairy, etc., and capture all those thoughts like this. So here we have apples and bananas for fruit, tomatoes and onions for veg, cheese and yogurt for dairy, and so on. You get the point. And you can see why mind mapping is an effective way to manage and map out your thoughts, whether you're mapping out your life or your shopping list or anything else. Now, as I mentioned earlier on, you can use software to create your mind maps. There are plenty of mind mapping tools, and I talk about a lot of them in my channel. On that note, if you're interested on tools that help you become more effective and tools that help you succeed online, then please subscribe to the channel, and that way you don't miss any of these great tools. And if you're interested in exploring mind mapping tools, many of which are free or come with a free plan, then check out the videos that you see on your screen right now, or click the links in the description below this video. And remember, take it easy, and I shall catch you in the next video.
Okay, so this is what everything about mind maps. So I know it's a different way of doing things. We are trying to learn, we are trying to understand a way of capturing the requirement in its completeness, and that's why we use certain of these tools. Any question for me at this moment? I'll share this video after our training so that you can go it whenever you want to have a look at it. I'll share the YouTube link because I think it's easier to share the YouTube link rather than sharing the video, right? Do you agree with me?
Yes. Yes.
Because videos basically
Yes.
take a while to download, and YouTube you can just click, and now almost every phone have a YouTube installed on it, configured on it, so you can have a look at that video, and such subsequent video or subscription and all those things also you can do, right? So let's yeah, go ahead please. Any question?
So which tool do we use for mind mapping to
Again,
create
ma'am, yeah, whenever you join an organization, they'll have their favorites. Mind map is not normally included in the best practices, even in IIBA and the other what I can say best procedures by these institutions. Mind map is a specific tools used for some specific domains. If you look at something like e-learning domain, they use mind maps. If you are looking about writers or photographers association, they use mind maps. In Atos, some wake companies, they use mind map. Mind map was basically a European practice, started in good old days, might be 200 years ago or something like that, and that's how it evolved there. So normally North America, it's not a a regular practice. So if you're working with a European client, you might come across mind map. Okay, and what are the tool set available? Let me share with you afterwards. You can just start with pen and paper, but yes, there are some certain software free tools available. We call it open system tools. So I'll share those with you. Does that answer your question, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
No problem. Next is roadmap. These are predominantly look like activity diagrams or those kind of things. We just build overall how things has to be how the events have to be lined up. The best way to create an agreement is to involve a key stakeholder in a creating roadmap. So how do you do? We normally sit up with a VPHR from a state farm and create these roadmaps. So things change from one state to another, right? This allows you to leverage their idea and knowledge to help ensure that the roadmap is realistic and actionable. By running 2 or 4 workshops to create a go map as the following picture illustrate. So what here I'm trying to have a validated value propositions from VPHR. Then I'll have something like product owner, dev team members are normally not included, but yes, sales representative, their management sponsor should be there. And here I involve these key stakeholder, discuss with them, brainstorm with them, and build a roadmap. So roadmap is a kind of table, a list, which I'll come up with as an output. Mind map is a drawing normally, which I come up with you. Here it's a table. You can normally create a roadmaps on an Excel, right? So we are basically targeting here what you're trying to build, what are the different aspects of building it, how we can align it with the components, how we can actually scale down the special components as well, right? Let's watch him through a video of building roadmap. Let me select that thing. Yes, building a product roadmap. It's a small video. Let me share that with you. Could you see this lady?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Going product people, this is Victoria from Product Plan, and today I'm going to talk about roadmap basics. We get a lot of questions on this topic, like what is the goal of a roadmap, who is a roadmap for, and what belongs on the roadmap. So let's answer those questions and tackle this topic. Before we get any further into the video, if you're watching this on YouTube, this video is an adaptation of an article on our website, so I've linked it below in the description box. It's super easy to understand and a step-by-step guide into roadmap basics. I highly recommend you check it out. Product roadmap is a high-level visual summary that maps out the vision and direction of your product offering over time. It communicates what you're building and, more importantly, why. Your product roadmap has a handful of goals. First, it's to describe the product strategy and vision. Second, it's to be a guiding document on how you'll execute on that strategy and vision. Third is to get alignment from your stakeholders. And fourth is to facilitate a conversation around scenario planning. And fifth is to communicate with your external stakeholders and your customers. So the goal of the roadmap is to describe, guide, align, facilitate, and communicate. Sometimes it's easier to understand what something isn't to better understand what it is. So your product roadmap is not a list of features. It's not a product management tracker, and it's especially not a backlog. That's because they're all missing this key ingredient, and that's strategy. Your product roadmap is the strategic document to communicate your vision of your product and your product portfolio. With a dedicated product roadmap system, you can visually communicate your strategic reasoning with stakeholders.
See, this is a typical IT person. You normally talk two big words, and it's just a simple list of basically how we are going to plan it at the end of the day, right? So it's a simple thing. So whenever she'll make you get to understand that. But let's
and cross collaborators in a single source of truth. It should look something like this. Your roadmap should include themes, epics, stories, and features. The beauty of a product roadmap is you can create a portfolio view, and then from there, create different roadmaps for different product lines or depending on who your viewer is. It's important that you create the roadmap with the viewer in mind. So let's quickly talk about the various stakeholders that you might be presenting to. On your executive level roadmap, you want to focus on high-level concepts, things like customer satisfaction, growth, new market penetration, churn, anything that communicates how your product is connected to business goals and outcomes. This is usually a longer in duration roadmap compared to, say, your engineering roadmap. Engineering roadmaps are much more granular in scope. You want to be as transparent as possible on the engineering roadmap. So it includes things like release dates, features, sprints, and milestones. On your sales roadmap, you actually want to exclude release dates. That's because this is the roadmap that the sales team uses with prospects, where they communicate the benefits of what's coming down the pipeline with your product. And then lastly, you have your external roadmap. And this one should be as visual as possible. People want to know what it is that you're going to be doing later down the line. So I'm going to stop right there. All the roadmap templates that I just went over are linked in the description box below. So go start your own roadmap. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you.
Yeah, any question for me?
No,
Let
I'm
me
good.
share okay, great. Let me share my presentation now. I know these are different tool sets, right? So we need to have an overview of it. So if anybody asks, Have have you looked at a roadmap thing? So yes, I had looked at it, not done in depth, but yes, I can do roadmap. These are easier thing, right? Whenever we try to plan a strategy, normally, tend to bring it in a particular tool. Yes, anybody have any question?
I'm good.
Yes. No problem. Let's have a look at one of the another some of the favorite tools of some of the seniors or good old daddies. This is what we call SWOT analysis. This is a kind of more of HR tools. HR in the sense human resources uses this thing for the appraisals, for understanding of an employee, for understanding of a conflicted party, and that's how we do it in HR scenario. So if you are from recruitment and all, you might have seen this tool, you might have came across this tool. It's called SWOT analysis: strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats. So if you want to choose an option between this or that, you can basically scan it or list it according to the SWOT analysis. So it can be something like, what are the things which does well, the strength in the market. If I talk about something like Apple, right? They're the leaders in terms of product offering. The products are really user friendly. They are of course very well designed. They are attached to a really senior and the most popular brand of Apple, and so on and so forth. The qualities are really great. That's why many people choose them, so on and so forth, right? So we try to build all our strength. Now weakness. Okay, these are costly products. If you look at the Apple products, Mac products, they're costly product, right? So competitors are offering the similar scenario, not the same, similar scenario in almost half of the price, something like that. So what are the resource limitations we have? Yes, I know I have targeted my product for specific market rather than general public. Yeah, so that's my kind of way my business strategies have been working for me, and that's how I aligned myself. So what are the opportunity? I can't go to Africas of the world. I can't go to Nairobis of the world. I'll target markets like North American markets, Canadian markets, richer countries, right? Where I can basically I can basically present myself as the best possible alternative available to the cheaper thing, and I'll make it as a prestige scenario. Okay, just to share with you, have you gone through latest Hummer? Latest Hummer is an electric Hummer. Means they have started testing it from last October. Now it's almost right February. So we are trying about 6 months of evolution of that vehicle. So if you get a time, have a look at that Hummer website, and the new Hummer is electric Hummer, and try to understand how Hummer can be, because Hummer is the most gas guzzling vehicle on the earth. It normally drinks gas like gallons per minute or something like that. I like Hummer. I driven.
It's only 8 miles a gallon.
Come again, ma'am?
It gives only 8 miles per gallon.
Yes, ma'am. And I used to work for enterprise rent a car, so I've rented Hummer few times. I like Hummer because of the
I can't hear anything, Ravi sir.
Me
We
too. I
lost
am
it.
not able to listen
We lost
anything.
it.
Yeah, he's
Me too.
lost.
Raviji. Can chat. He's disconnected. He got disconnected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably he'll join again. Leena ji, what is Hummer? It's a kind of car.
Yeah, it's a car. It's a gas guzzler. It's a huge car.
Gas guzzler. What is gas guzzler?
Yes,
I'm
it
sorry.
needs a lot of gas. It needs, and it's like a huge
Oh,
giant tires, and it's huge.
oh, okay.
I had a tenant few years back, and he was an Arab guy was driving Hummer, and I would tell my husband he's my tenant and he's driving much higher car than us.
Okay. Uh, I'll Google it. It's HUMMER.
Yeah,
Hummer?
HUMMER, yeah.
Okay, I'll check it.
And believe me, there are really great fans of Hummers
Yeah.
like myself. We like means the ground clearance part of it, the off-roading part of it, the power part of it. It has its own type of world altogether, like the Teslas, right? Well, if the electric Hummer comes out, Tesla will be look like a kind of Maruti 800 against Mercedes. Believe me. If I say so, means I'm a fan of Hummer, so I can say that. But as an Indian, you can understand the comparison, right? Yes, but the cost-wise, they were so aggressively priced it at 100K. It's really
Yeah.
cheaper in terms of Hummers of the world. And the car looks like fantastic. And I'll share that video with you. Means, one of my friend booked it for $1,000 or so, and he'll get it, I think, in the mid-May or, end of the May 2021. That's how they started their they're starting their delivery. So these are specific, entities in the world which are strategically created, not to beat the market, but to overall, they have their own way of saying things, own way of strategically planning things, right? Now, there are these 4 blocks where we normally filter such things. So me as in personality, what are my strengths, what are my weakness, what are my opportunity, what are my threats? So these are the things. So whenever you go for a job interview, you can basically, list down your thought processes in these 4 boxes, right? So that I can categorize, does it suits me, or there are too many threats, too many weaknesses than strengths and opportunities? Because see, there are plus and there are minuses. So if there are too many weaknesses, too many threats, then I might not will do it. Means I'll just choose another path, another opportunity, something like that sort. Could you understand me what I'm trying to say here?
Yes.
Yeah. And pardon me for that, I think I lost the internet connection, or the service provider have resetted the server or something. But yes, now it's working. Pardon me for that. So this is how we do normally as far as SWOT analysis goes. And believe me, there are quite a serious philosophers who like SWOT, and they are really strict to the SWOT tools and techniques. Okay, so we need to understand from their point of view, because they believe this is the best tool in the world. So everything you need to do through SWOT analysis. I have one of the best HR head in Patni. He used to do SWOT analysis day in day out. So even if you want to go to something like market, he used to do SWOT analysis. Is it the right time? Is it not? It's like the astrologer looking for the Rahu Ketus of the world. Sorry to say that, but
think
yes.
about it, like not like putting SWOT in mind, but that's what we do in everyday life, right? We think
That's
what
true,
we
that's
good
true.
about, we not. We just don't give the name to SWOT.
Name to it,
But we
yeah.
just go through
Even
this every
the
day.
same thing with the product roadmap, same thing with the mind map also, ma'am.
Exactly.
Means we don't use this specific tool or specific way of doing things, but yeah, we do it back of the mind day in day out.
Yeah, but I like your suggestion on at the time of interview, you do a SWOT analysis of yourself and get ready. So, you
Exactly.
can practically answer everything pretty well.
Rather than going there and try to, well, learning is a different scenario. But when you say okay, I don't want this thing, then okay, you are cleared in terms of tension or stress, right? And then you can perform really well. Means
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of my friends, if they let it go the tension, they can perform like anything. But due to that stress and tension, they really underperform most of the time.
Yeah.
And this happens. I believe you must have certain friends and colleagues where you can observe such things.
Yeah.
So something like that. So how do we use this as an BA? We are again try to try to achieve all the requirement within the HLDs, within the SRS, so that we haven't missed on a single scenario. And then we normally give a choice. In case if I want to choose a path, this or that, I'll perform a SWOT analysis and try to pursue which is more suitable to the needs, more suitable to the strategic alignment of the solution. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, great. Now we normally draw a diagram also sometimes. Sometimes we just have a table where we normally try to list down these things and then go one by one, clicking them, right? Let's try to understand from this video where, how SWOT analysis is normally performed day in, day out. Let me pull up that video for you. Okie dokie. It's a small video. Okay, I have to stop share. Okie dokie. I have to start share. Pardon me for that.
In this video, we're talking all about SWOT analysis, what it's used for, the various elements and considerations of building a SWOT diagram, and how to get started doing it. SWOT analysis is a key part of any business and strategic plan. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths and weaknesses are internal factors, and opportunities and threats are external factors. A SWOT diagram analyzes a project or business venture by focusing on each of these factors. It typically consists of 4 boxes, one for each area, but the exact shape may vary depending on the design. SWOT diagrams can be especially useful when trying to decide whether or not to embark on a certain venture or strategy by visualizing the pros and cons. By clearly outlining all positives and negatives of a project, SWOT analysis makes it easier to decide how to move forward. First, you want to figure out how to build on the strengths of your organization. A SWOT analysis will help you identify the parts of your business that are doing well. These are your critical success factors, aspects of your business that are strong and give you a competitive advantage. Recognizing these assets will help you continue on at a high level, and you will need to find ways to leverage and build upon these strengths to grow your business. Next, you'll want to identify ways to improve on your weaknesses. Weaknesses are the factors that put you at a disadvantage to your competitors. Figuring out what these weaknesses are, taking actions to lessen them before they hurt your business is essential. This stage requires a detailed and candid analysis of what is going wrong within your organization. Now, you'll try to identify the opportunities available for your business. Try to pinpoint openings in the marketplace that you can take advantage of to help your business grow. These opportunities are caused by external factors, such as market fluctuations and trends. Always consider your strengths and weaknesses when assessing these opportunities. Not every opportunity is right for your company at the moment, but it may be not too far down the line. And now we'll try to figure out how to respond to threats to your business. Market fluctuations, government regulation, or public perception are all external factors that may affect your business in a negative way. By identifying these threats, finding ways to lessen or eliminate them, you are clearing the way for smoother sailing. As with opportunities, you need to consider your strengths and weaknesses when assessing threats. It's important to note that a strength for one part of your organization might be a weakness for another. For instance, the old-fashioned brand image and 100-year-old history of a company may benefit the farm equipment division, but it may not be such a boon for the new tech division. For this reason, you may want to perform a different SWOT analysis for each part of your business rather than for the business as a whole. Also, you'll very likely have the same factors listed in more than one of these categories. You can see how a company's weakness, for example, its lack of presence in a marketplace, could also be a major opportunity going forward. Here are some things to keep in mind while doing a SWOT analysis. Try to keep your SWOT diagram brief and to the point. Include the most pertinent details, but don't bog it down with too much explanation within the diagram. You can go into greater detail during meetings or in reports. Be sure to utilize employees from various areas of your company when getting input during your analysis. Consider feedback from your partners and customers as well. A variety of perspectives will result in a more thorough analysis. Keep the core objectives of your company's business plan in mind while performing your SWOT analysis. This will help guide you through seemingly unrelated internal and external factors. Arrange the results of your analysis in order of the most important factors to the least. This will help you prioritize action points going forward. With all that in mind, let's look at how you build a SWOT diagram. First, determine the objective. Decide on a key project or strategy to analyze
and write it at the top of the page. Next, create a grid. Draw a large square and then divide it into 4 smaller squares. If you're using a diagramming program like SmartDraw, the templates already do this for you. All you have to do is type in the spaces. The boxes, of course, should be labeled strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. These are titles, so they should be distinguished from the rest of the text using either color or font size. Add the factors that affect the project to the applicable boxes. Factors are typically listed in bullet form. Continue adding, removing, or editing the factors as you go through your process. That's all there is to it. Now, draw your conclusions by analyzing the finished SWOT diagram. Be sure to note if the positive outcomes outweigh the negative. If they do, it may be a good decision to carry out the objective. If they do not, adjustments may need to be made, or certain objectives may need to be abandoned. Be sure to keep your SWOT analysis in an easy-to-access place for future reference and discussion. Some managers may want to keep an ongoing SWOT analysis, updating the diagram on a regular basis. Others may prefer to revise the analysis quarterly or yearly. Either way, it should not be left stagnant for long. We hope you've enjoyed learning about SWOT analysis. Thanks for watching.
No, not that one. Okay. Wait a minute. Okay. So this is what the SWOT analysis is all about. Anybody have any question for me at this moment? Are we there or hello?
No, sir, we are good.
No,
We are
no,
good.
we're good.
Okay, no problem. Let's try to understand another.
These all are the types of analysis that BA does.
Types of analysis. Yeah, we had that slide in our training.
No,
We
this
had
SWOT analysis and product roadmaps and mind maps. These are all comes under BA analysis, right?
analysis. These are the tools, various tools available for analysis, not the types of analysis. And these are the tools used by separate organizations, which are normally how I'll say, which are normally not related to any specific domain, but the way their policies and procedures have evolved over time, but they still keep using those tools. Now, when I talk about fishbone diagrams, these are used mostly by Japanese, Koreans, and Chinese. This tool is developed around Japan, and they were using it for centuries altogether. And that's how overall, this tool has been evolved. This is one of also, few and favorite tools. So if you're working with Japanese client or Chinese client, you might get requirement in a fishbone type of structure. So could you see the fishbone on your screens?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So normally, I really don't like fishbones and all, but still, it's the tool used by many. And I've worked with quite a few Japanese clients. So, we used to draw these things. So, that's how we do it. So backbone is my main business idea. Head is where the objective is, where I'm, trying to basically achieve. Then we have something like, physical evidence, product or service, performance measures, processes, place, and peoples. And we try to categorize it into, a filtration way to, what I can say, to put to the objective, end objective, whatever we plan to. And this is normally drawn in a fishbone, means an arrow in between, a big arrow in between, and some elliptical lines, few elliptical lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, depending on the way the filters or the way I want to scan this thing with a different scenario. Those other priorities, frankly speaking. So that way. Okay, this again, if you join a client where they are using these tools, then they'll teach you. Be it a SWOT analysis, because they'll use a certain tool, right? So they'll guide you on that. There's something called induction workshop. When you join a mature company, whatever employee joins you, they give you an induction workshop. It's a 2 or 3 day, seminar, like the one which we are doing now. so that they'll get, how to access their intranet, how to apply for leave, how to, what are the timings, what are the expectation, these, that, and then they'll come to your particular roles and responsibility. Thereafter, sharing the roles and responsibility, they'll come down what are the tools you use. So if they're using fishbone diagram, if they're using SWOT analysis, if they're using mind maps, they'll guide you which software you can use, and they'll also share with you the licensing information, because if you're normally working for a company, they normally use a licensed software. So rather than me teaching you software, we'll learn it on job. So please don't worry on any particular tool as such. We are trying to understand the philosophy behind these diagrams, behind these tools, so that we can effectively do our business analysis. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So yeah, we are thinking from a holistic perspective rather than doing a hands-on. Whatever hands-on we do, use case diagram, HLD, activity diagram, and we'll do some more. These are basically more relevant to the best tools adopted by company where we are going to work. So those are kind of necessity. These are kind of good to have. Yeah, if you want to have a discussions with somebody who is working as an analyst, you can ask him, so what are the tools do you use? So he might label such thing, and you might pull out your thought, okay, fishbone diagrams, yes, अपन ने देखा था वो fish की हड्डी जैसा दिखता है, right? So something like that sort. Then this is also called cause and effect diagram. This is also called Ishikawa diagram, because Ishikawa is a scientist who first started using this thing in the industry, right? So let's try to understand how fishbone diagram works. I also have a video for that. Give me a minute. So I have a fishbone diagram. Wait a minute, huh? Let me share that thing with you.
In my last video, we had seen Pareto chart in very detail. Now it's time to learn another tool in the journey of 7 basic quality tools. In this video, we are going to see fishbone diagram. It is known as fishbone diagram because of its shape, similar to the side view of a fish skeleton. It is also called as cause and effect diagram and Ishikawa diagram. The effect is shown as a fish head facing to the right, with the causes extending to the left as fish bones. The ribs branch off the backbone for major causes, with sub-branches for root causes, and to the many levels as required. Ishikawa diagrams were popularized in the 1960s by Kaoru Ishikawa, who pioneered quality management processes in the Kawasaki shipyards, and in the process become one of the founding fathers of modern management. The basic concept was first used in 1920s and is considered one of the 7 basic tools of quality control. Mazda Motors famously used an Ishikawa diagram in the development of the Miata MX-5 sports car. The fishbone diagram identifies many possible causes for an effect or problem. It can be used to structure a brainstorming session. It immediately sorts ideas into useful categories. When to use a fishbone diagram? When identifying possible causes for a problem, especially when a team's thinking is not going towards a root cause. Root cause analysis is intended to reveal key relationships among various variables, and the possible causes provide additional insight into the process behavior. The causes emerged by analysis, often through brainstorming sessions, are grouped into categories on the main branches of the fishbone. To help structure the approach, the categories are often selected from one of the common models shown below, but may emerge as something unique to the application in a specific case. Each potential cause is traced back to find out the root cause, often using the why analysis technique. Fishbone diagram procedure. Let's see first 6M for manufacturing industries. Materials required are.
See, so there are many Japanese auto manufacturer even in US, right? So if you start working from some of the Japanese manufacturer like Toyotas of the world, like Nissan of the world, they use this diagram within their architecting and design their system. So you might need to understand. So if you're going to work for something like Ford, they don't use. But if you're going to work for something like Toyota or something, they might use this Ishikawa diagram, right? So there are certain possibilities. So we should understand on a holistic level how does Ishikawa works. this is the same thing. You're trying to filter out the unnecessary requirement and try to, select out the best possible requirement which has to be carried forward to a solution, something like that. So it's a kind of selection method, you can put it way. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, trying to understand. Yeah.
Yeah, just have a look at it.
Flip chart or whiteboard and marking pens. Step 1. Agree on a problem statement.
This look much complicated because this is not a problem right now. So once you know your problem, you can start jotting down the diagram. And this has gone to a 5th level, which we normally don't go. We go to the 3rd level. That's the most of it, right? So please don't worry about the complexity of this diagram.
That is effect. Write it at the center right of the flip chart or whiteboard. Draw a box around it and draw a horizontal arrow running to it. Brainstorm the major categories of the causes for the problem. These are methods, machines, man or people, materials, measurement, and environment. Step 3. Write the categories of causes as branches from the main arrow. Step 4. Brainstorm all the possible causes of the problem. Ask, why does this happen? As each idea is given, the facilitator writes it as a branch from the appropriate category. Causes can be written in several places if they are related to several categories. Step 5. Again ask, why does this happen about each cause? Write sub-causes branching of the causes. Continue to ask why and generate deeper levels of causes. Layers of branches indicate causal relationships. Step 6. When the group runs out of ideas, focus attention to the places on the chart where ideas are very few. Now let's see the fishbone diagram examples in manufacturing. This fishbone diagram was drawn by a manufacturing team to try to understand the sources of periodic iron contamination. The team used the 6 generic headings to prompt ideas.
The iron normally rusts down, and every car, every truck, they use iron to build the overall engines, iron parts, springs, pistons, and blah 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 stuff, right? So here in this diagram, he tried to address the challenges in choosing iron as a raw material for given car, truck, or whatever auto he is trying to make. So let's try to understand from that perspective.
Layers of branches shows thinking about the causes of the problem. For example, under the heading machines, the idea materials of construction shows 4 kinds of equipment and then several specific machine numbers. Note down, some ideas appear in 2 different places. For example, calibration shows up under methods as a factor in the analytical procedure and also under measurement as a cause of the lab error. Iron tools can be considered as a methods problem when they're taking samples or a manpower problem with maintenance personnel. Fishbone diagram is very common tool used in product marketing as well as service industries, but with some changes. Let's see. The 8 P's used in the product marketing. In product marketing, M's are replaced by P. This common model for planning in product marketing is also used in root cause analysis. As categories for the Ishikawa diagram as product, price, promotion, place, process, people, physical evidence, and performance. The 8 P's are primarily used in product marketing. The next is 4S. This is used in the service industries. In service industries, M's are replaced by S. An alternative used for service industries uses 4 categories of possible causes: surroundings, suppliers, systems, and skills. Remaining procedure for fishbone diagram, it remains same as that of the manufacturing example. You can use multiple combinations of above categories to find out the root cause depending on the situation and the area of problem. Now, create a fishbone diagram in Excel. As I explained, it is very easy to prepare a whiteboard or paper and can be used for analysis. You can also easily draw it in Excel. Excel template is also available on ASQ site for ready-made format of 6M analysis. How to create a fishbone diagram in Unitab. Let's continue with the above example. To make it easy and avoid confusion, I'm just explaining a part of methods to be drawn in the Minitab. We can see in the cause and effect diagram, under methods, there are two major causes, that is analytical procedure and sampling. So I have written it under method column. In analytical procedure, there are two sub-causes, that is not followed and calibration. I have entered a new column by the name analytical procedure as major cause and listed sub-causes under it. Similar thing I have done for another major cause, that is sampling. Once we have entered the data in Minitab worksheet, to draw the fishbone diagram, go to the Stat, Quality Tools, and select the cause and effect option. Cause and effect diagram dialog box will be open. Add the effect and title in the dialog box for which we are preparing the cause and effect diagram. In the row of methods, select branch as in column and the cause as method from the available option at the left side. Once you have entered the causes, click on the sub option to add the sub causes. In the row of analytical procedure, select sub branch as in column and in causes, select analytical procedures. Repeat the procedure for another main cause, that is sampling, from the available option at the left side. Then click OK. You will get the final results as the diagram. Please like the video if you have found it useful.
So this is that. So this is what we call Ishikawa or cause and effect diagram, right? So it's good. If you practice it along, you'll get along just fine. It's not difficult as such. Only we need to understand how to use that tool. And of course, there are various templates available in Excel. So you can do it normally in Excel, or you can do it with pen and paper. Okay. Any question for me at this moment?
No, sir.
Okay, I believe enough of various tools. We'll have a light, throw light on various other tools basically.
Just one thing on fishbone diagram, we use only when you identify the problem and retrospective view if you have to do it, right?
Yeah, normally see a couple of diagrams are basically for choosing the correct alternative, or insisting on the correct options available. That's how they perceive it. But overall, what we are trying to do, we are trying to build a list of approved requirement, right? Because list of approved requirement will go to the development team and they'll start working on that. So to basically create an importance of priorities or a different scenario, we draw these diagrams. We draw these diagrams whenever we have to stress on a particular choice, how it could be more beneficial or how it could be more in line with the strategies. I believe, ma'am, whenever we will start working on a job, you'll get to know the exact way of interpreting these diagrams, rather than thinking it loud right now. That's how I feel it. But yes, can I explain it? Can I answer your question?
Yeah.
Means have I answered your question? Sorry.
Yes, you did.
Okay, sorry, because these are a bit complicated things, and these are evolved over ages. Means be it Ishikawa diagrams, it's evolved over 40 years plus. So they have certain way of presenting it, and this is more of traditional rather than modern way. But yes, these are used in some organizations. So if interview asks, have you worked on fishbone diagram? So you say okay, yes. So have you root cause diagram? You can say yes. So something like that. So he'll just ask you. He won't go into the depth because the organization was supposed to give you training on such tools if they use it. These are not what I can say industry standard overall. But yes, certain industry do use them.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, sure, no problem.
Sir, fishbone diagrams are called as root cause analysis diagram.
Yes, ma'am. Fishbone cause and effect diagram or Ishikawa diagram. Root cause diagram is different thing. Okay, root cause analysis is a type of analysis what we do, and root cause analysis is a way of basically it's also a philosophical term. Root cause analysis. We try to basically go to the root of cause. let's say if I have a car park at my house, and whenever I park my car, there's a weird sound because of whatever that gate of entry. There was a pipe down below the tires, and it used to make some noises. So how to stop that? I need to pour some concrete on it so that next time it won't come out and give me that dub dub sound whenever tire goes over it. So what was the root cause? Yes, that sound was really I find it irritating. So and I try to go to the root of it and try to find that due to that vibrating pipe, I need to stop those vibration. So the root cause was the vibration was creating sound, which is what irritating whenever I park my car. So what I did, I poured some concrete on it. So I have addressed that root cause. That's how I see it, right? Let's say in terms of making tea, I used to keep my pot on the top shelf, but in the morning I'm really lazy to climb on a ladder and get the top pot from top. So what I started doing, I start hanging the pot near the tap so that I can just get the water and put it on a stove. So stove, tap, and pot is nearby. I can do it quickly early in the morning. I don't want to run around, right? Grab a pot, get a water, and put the tea, for the tea and all, right? So that's how I improve life. So addressing root cause always makes you happier. Always you evolve your life with. That's how it looked at it. Does that answer your question, ma'am?
Yes, sir. So root cause is different from the fishbone diagram, right? Root cause
Yes, ma'am.
analysis.
Root cause is a generic philosophy.
Yeah.
But yes, analysis do use root cause analysis. Mostly root cause analysis is a big training agenda for testers, quality control guys, because they have to go to a root cause to address repeated bugs, repeated defects. That's how we teach them. Okay.
Yes.
Once you hit the root cause, the total problem goes away. Any other question for me?
Okay.
Okay, so let's stop here today, because I believe we have ventured into different cultures and philosophy today. I don't want to burden your mind with more such tools. There are, I think, few more. We will go over it. This is a kind of overall trying to be an analyst. You have to use some tools because of some favorites, because of some cultural habits of the organization. So please don't get threatened by such things. And of course, I am there to guide you whenever such tools comes our way. We'll have a hands-on workshop so that you can know these tools in depth. Even if right now, as a personality, if you like something like fishbone or a SWOT, do let me know, and I'll be happy to walk you through. We can have a separate session on that as well. So it depends on me as a personality to understand the vision, convert it into a requirement, and ship it to the solution functionality, right? So me as an analyst, how I can leverage these tools is the most crucial part. So whatever, if you like certain thing, we are there to learn it in depth. But for me, if you know use case diagram, if you know a bit of Excel, if you know a bit of SRS, if you know the HLD, that's more than enough for a given analysis. But if you're working with somebody with Toyota, somebody like Koreans or Japanese, they might require Ishikawa diagram to be drawn almost for each and every understanding, each and every decision making process. Does that help you out?
Yes.
Could you understand what I'm trying to say here?
Yes, sir.
No problem. So I'll share this video with you within few hours. I don't know, within short span of time, and then you can have a look at them. And if you still have any questions, we can discuss it in our next sessions, and we can take it up from there. Okay.
Okay, Raviji.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Sure. Have a good night. Bye.
Good
Take
night.
care.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.